Chief Justice Mogoeng Mogoeng has been directed by the Judicial Conduct Committee to apologize unconditionally for, quote, becoming involved in political controversy, and that was through statements that he made on an online webinar hosted by the Jerusalem Post. That was in June last year. Now, that ruling came after 3 organizations laid complaints against him for contravening judicial ethic rules by participating in the webinar to begin with the Chief Rabbi of South Africa. For an idea of what we should make of these developments, let's bring in Professor Salim Vally from the Coordinating Committee of the Boycott, Divestment and Sanctions Movement in South Africa. Prof, thanks very much for your time and welcome to the program. I wonder which you think was more detrimental to the Chief Justice, the actual remarks he made during that webinar or what he said afterward when he was asked to retract those statements. And it was something to the tune of, even if 50 million people were to march for 10 years, I will not apologize.
Yes, absolutely, Ayanda. Thank you very much. I think the very compelling and closely argued document, adjudication of Judge Mogoeng on behalf of the Judicial Conduct Committee, makes it quite clear that that statement was brazenly defiant, it was arrogant, and it did the Chief Justice greater harm. I think the Judicial Services Committee and the Judicial Conduct Committee were worried about besmirching the good name of our judiciary. I mean, we have a long history. We're talking about Justice Pius Langa, Ismail Mohammed, Chaskelson. I can go on. Father of human rights law, John Dugard, and we are well respected internationally. And I think not just the statement, but his statement around 666 and the vaccines, so this besmirches the judiciary, and it's filled with hubris. So I think the consequences is that, and it's spelled out in this document, the adjudication, that our Chief Justice has 10 days. It's now exactly, it's going to be a week, 10 days from the ruling, that he needs to apologize and retract in front of serving justices of the Constitutional Court. And the statement has been written out for him.
Yeah.
So, as Chief Mandla Mandela puts it, we don't want a public humiliation. He's an elder. He's wrong. He needs to be corrected and educated. And just sticking to international law will tell you that apartheid Israel has violated the most international law, conventions, treaties, than any other country in the world.
If I can come in there, Prof. I mean, this is also happening at a time where we're just months, I think, if not weeks, before the Chief Justice is actually set to end his term. Why is it important that we put this to bed before then, if in fact you feel that it is?
Well, it's as important as impeaching Trump, although he's no longer the president. This sets a precedent. It brings credibility, once again, to the judiciary, credibility that has been harmed. So basically that if he ignores this or defies it, which he's likely to do if he seeks the counsel of supporters of Israel, they will advise him to defy this. Then it will automatically trigger a tribunal that will decide to find him guilty or not, and then it will go to Parliament. It will go to the National Assembly, and if there's a 2/3 majority to impeach him, despite the fact that, his tenure will want to prolong the issue, but I think that would be seen as lacking in goodwill. It will besmirch him even further, and I hope he does not do that.
Yeah. Very quickly then, with the time we have left, in my mind there are sort of 3 paradigms, if you like. There's the issue of what constitutes appropriate judicial conduct. There's the issue of free speech, and there's also the issue of taking an ethical stand in the Palestine-Israel issue. Why do you think it appears the Chief Justice is conflating all of these issues, if in fact that is your position?
Well, it's an ideological position. What the Chief Justice has done is got nothing to do with international law, with jurisprudence. It's an ideological position he's taken. It's an extreme right-wing position. It's the supporters of Trump and others, including the chief rabbi. It's very unlike many anti-Zionist Jewish people who have called Israel an apartheid state, including Ronnie Kasrils and many others. Nor is it Christian, despite what the Chief Justice said. The Reverend Frank Chikane, many others, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, I can go on, even Martin Clark of the Evangelical Alliance, have pronounced on this that Israel is unchristian, that what it is doing to Palestinians, who, by the way, are Muslim and Christian, is unchristian. So, on all grounds, the Chief Justice is wrong as far as international law is concerned, as far as theology is concerned, and as far as being moral and ethical, as the conscience of the world, Archbishop Desmond Tutu teaches us to be. So we hope, we really hope, if I was Christian or religious, I would pray that the Chief Justice do what is right. We are prepared to meet with him to discuss why we say Israel is a racist state, it's apartheid, and why it is not becoming of him and the dignity of his office to get involved in such controversy.
Professor Vally, we're going to have to leave it on that note. Thanks very much for your take on this issue. I imagine this won't be the end of it. Professor Salim Vally is from the Coordinating Committee of the Boycott, Divestment and Sanctions Movement.